Hi everybody. Just real quickly, my name is Gopal Krishnan Bhatia, and I come here as a senior partner solution architect. Been with AWS for a while, for 8 years now. I'm specialized in the data domain, and I work out of India. Uh, Work with the partners to grow in their partner business and all the fields there. And I have with me joining Kalyan as well. Uh, Kalyan, if you can just give a two-liner as well, that would be great. Over to you, Kalyan.
Sure, Gopal. Thanks for that, and thanks, Maddie. Hey everyone, this is Kalyan Kumar Nilampuri, and I'm partner solution architect as well. I work based out of Austin, Texas, in US, and I work with mostly SI partners in US region. And today, I'm excited to be here in this session today. And I'll be doing the demo part, and Gopal will be handling the rest of the things.
Thank you so much, Kalyan. So from the agenda perspective today, as part of QuickSight learning series, we'll be covering what is GenBI to get started so that we know what the prior background is, how data ingestion kind of works in Amazon Q, and what are the ways, and what are the some of the best practices which can be followed when you're actually trying to create these dashboards with the help of Amazon Q. We are leveraging GenAI to enhance our business intelligence, making it easier for all the organization out there to explore data, discover any kind of insights, and share them, allowing any kind of BI users utilizing capabilities of GenAI without needing to having any infrastructure taken care of or without be anyone of them being a machine learning expert. So you don't have to worry about what my LLM should be or what fine tuning should be, as you must have learned from different GenAI services or quite new to it, or how training the model has to be done, or implementing RAG kind of functionality to reduce those hallucinations where my data shows incorrect values. So you do not have to worry when we talk about GenBI in this case, because we have Amazon QuickSight, which provides access to all these powerful LLMs with the help of these features to a pre-built set of capabilities that we offer, which handle all of that for you. Now let's look into some of these GenBI capabilities. Let's talk about what the AI-powered authoring experience is. We'll also be taking a look on what data stories are in GenBI, and then how your data applications can be also embedded through AI. So looking into the AI-powered authoring experience, starting with that, the goal here is just to simplify the process for authoring any kind of dashboard side. So now with this feature for authoring through with the help of AI, your tool specific knowledge becomes a secondary kind of requirement. And this is very important for authors. Now, we only allow them to focus on their main objective, which is just analyzing their data and how seamless it can be for these authors. Now, what they can do, they can quickly get started without worrying about any what chart they have to use, what the type should be, even knowing what the field names of your data looks like. Basically, this feature will enhance the or help the author accelerate those tasks without any need of knowing the prior background and building these visuals, making it easier for them to make those effective decisions as well and build those effective dashboards with just plain English. Now, we have three major areas where you can do. You have authors can actually use precise or any vague language as well to generate visuals. And they can just, if you see on the screen, you can just write it out, create a visual, add to your dashboard uh, in just simple, plain English language. Uh, you also can tailor or customize these visuals based on, let's say, if you're not liking the chart type, or if you want some different data points. Now you have to simply describe what the format change you want, and again in the in the English language as you see there, and it will create it for you. It will modify the existing visuals for you. You can also take advantage of calculated fields. Let's say you are trying to calculate a formula for a new field, from, let's say, from 2 3 fields that you have. You can take advantage again of GenBI capability, but by just typing out what you actually need, whether you're looking for example, a profit or a loss, and just typing out that between two fields, and it will give you the entire formula, and you have to just do a copy paste, and it is incorporated into your visual. Now, next, as we discussed, we have data stories. Now, the idea with this feature is to have QuickSight having to generate stories, which can help organizations discover and explain findings from their data, which they cannot because there is vast amount of data that we deal with on a daily basis. And the best part here is that it supports centralized access. So what that means is it ensures that the right members have access to the data with the right level of findings or access to it from the source side itself. You have that capability with the help of uh, data stories, allowing the user to only access the particular, let's say, some amount of rows or some amount of columns only. And with the ability to generate these stories whenever you need for your organization with the most up to date or accurate information there is. And that is the best part about stories. You can interpret data for others. As you see on the right here, you have a data story written out with just a plain English language, which you are trying to create a narrative. Usually in traditional world, dashboards, they don't come with some kind of domain context with business users uh, that a business users usually possess. Uh, and secondly, when let's say you're trying to build a narrative, it is very manual, it is very time consuming. Let's say if you have all this data from the reporting side, now coming up with this kind of report, it will take a lot of back and forth where you're creating these visuals along with the some kind of a summary narrative and having the report turn out in 2 to 3 pages. Now, with this generative data stories feature, you can address all these challenges. It allows all the readers to create these fast, quick report, which you can share with others as well in the organization. And you can directly do that by just connecting your data sets from different sources with QuickSight. So users here or someone like you have to just put your human intelligence and domain expertise, connect your data sources, uh, and design all these beautiful reports that you see on the screen with just typing out what you're looking for. Let's say, for example, I'm looking for a whole year data report where it has to tell me what how the year went by from the sales perspective, how what years what months were low incoming and what months were actually good, and what is the forecast we can do to actually make it better in the future. So those kind of narratives is something or insights which can be generated with the help of data stories. Along with the data stories, you have AI powered data apps. Now, how you can get started with building these apps? Now, QuickSight also offers, as you might have heard if you're using QuickSight, about embedding applications. Now, QuickSight does offer different options for those embedding so that your users can directly get these insights into your business applications. Now, two main methods for embedding that we have is one click, where you have no code embedding, and then you have API based embedding. Now, with one click embedding that QuickSight offers, you can have your entire dashboard or individual visuals, depending upon what your use case or what your data is. And you can then publicly embed those for open access, or let's say for your customer or for an enterprise level use, right? With the level of authentication that you try to do. In API based embedding method also, there are more advanced use cases as well, where you have anonymous or user registered user kind of embedding. Having those functionalities as of today, now when you are creating those embedded dashboards with the help of Q incorporated into that, you have the Q bar also embedded on top of it. So as your, let's say for your customers, go to your publicly access link and try to access the data, with the help of that Q bar, they are allowed to ask any kind of questions about the data. And again, in as you saw how, for example, in the last slide. And you can also allow them to explore the data in new ways. You can generate the insights, you can again generate analysis, the data stories, and this is happening from with your customers perspective as well. Not only internally, your customers are also able to take an advantage based on what they have on screen. If they have something which is not a part of that particular dashboard yet, with the help of Q bar on the top, and that will be seeing, for example, in the demo, that you can just type out a question and ask any question you like about their data, any visual or any field that you're trying to create. Now it varies into one click and API based, as you see, uh, and in all the places, and from the anonymous side or the registered user side, you have the option of just picking up this Q bar and try asking questions from the get go. Now, using this APIs and embeddings SDK, it is also very easy to integrate. You can ask multi-visual Q&A. You are creating not only just one visual, you have multiple sets of visuals with the narrative or a story attached to it on the side, as you can see on the screen. Work with any kind of data that you have. Depends. It can be any data, so it can be your uh, RDS data, RDBMS data, or data warehousing like Redshift data, or something coming from the on-prem. And you have all those options where you have visuals, dashboards, uh, through the QuickSight console creation, created easily, or uh, on your from customer perspective, they have the application. They can just type in and get those answers from those assets from their application. There are insights as well with embedded analytics, which actually help build those narratives for a multi-visual story, which you can build with QuickSight analysis very easily. What you have to do is you just point those analysts to your QuickSight generative BI story as well as your Q topic for this multi-visual analysis. Let's say when you are building these visuals, what QuickSight does is it generates different suggested insights that you have, which are nothing but your narratives, what you are trying to ask, what you're trying to build based on your use case. And it automatically is generated with the help of QuickSight. There is nothing you need to have prior knowledge on. And these are also called auto narratives, which you can let me put this as an example. Let's say if you have a line chart or a time series data, right, and you want to do a forecast or find anomalies in that data, all of those can be generated again with the help of QuickSight. Uh, that auto narrative will be generated. You have to just click on Insight when you are using Q, and on the right, it shows what the forecast based on the data that you have queried looks like. And if there are any anomalies as well, it shows you on that particular dot. And that again, we can cover as part of demo. Going to data ingestion. Now, before we look at the flow, I want to actually make it very clear that no customer data is being used to train these models, because we have so many customers which actually ask that question all the time, that how is my data being used to train these models? So I just want everyone to not stress on this, because we from as at Amazon, we do not comply or use any of our customers' data to train these models, because your data stays in your own account, in your own VPC. With that being said, you know how this works. So you can quickly start with your data. You have your enterprise data, you have QuickSight, querying authors, creating those analysis and from different data sets that you have, and creating dashboard and publishing dashboard, embedding applications. Then there is a concept of creating a topic. Now we'll get to that next, where how Q topic, whenever a readers kind of ask any kind of question, you get insight from from that data with the help of that topic. And this is really required when you are actually querying generative any and using or taking advantage of any of those generative BI capability on top of your analysis or dashboards. Now, once you have the topic creation, you can ask any kind of questions. All of this is being done with the homegrown model that Amazon has as of today, and it is powered by Amazon Bedrock. And all the LLMs being used are through with the help of service, with the help of the service Amazon Bedrock. So you do not have to think of what are the models being used or what is the service behind it is being. It is all AWS homegrown model which is being used for this Amazon Q capability. And with that, as I said, you can generate your visuals, you can generate your calculation, and last but the least, which is the most important, create data stories, create a narrative which kind of help you create out a summary and even share those summaries with your executives or business stakeholders. Now, as I was mentioning about Q topics, and these Q topics are nothing but they are, you can think of topics being stored in own Amazon QuickSight's proprietary infrastructure. So your storage of the topic which you create is fully managed by Amazon QuickSight. You do not have direct access to the underlying indexes. All of that is taken care by AWS in that case. Now let's now when a topic is created or updated in QuickSight, what it does it processes and indexes the data set which is coming, which could be your data source, any of your data source, to build an internal representation of that data and your metadata, and how this is how your topics is linked to those embeddings within that metadata. So whenever you're trying to query any kind of question, it is created that metadata based on your data source or the data you have provided, you've linked, right? And your whenever you create a topic for the first time or refreshed, you can see QuickSight. What it does is it scans all the links dataset. There could be multiple, and it builds in a single index for all those datasets, a single index which has the metadata in entirety. This includes your all the fields that it includes. It also includes all the sampling visuals that values that it has, any kind of field types or format that there is for the data. Now, this is about the topic which you create. We what is what you can think of Q topic index, which again, as I said, as an internal index which maintains all your data sets being queried against the data in that Q topic. So we are not really copying any of your underlying data itself. Instead, the index is being created based on your unique field values, your mappings. It is being saved as part of the metadata that QuickSight is playing along with. Now, the most important when we talk about QuickSight topic is refreshing a QuickSight Q topic, which is fairly necessary because in today's world we have a lot of data which is coming in day in and day out. And in order to make sure that we are getting the right data access whenever we are trying to ask any question to Q, we need to make sure that our data is being refreshed regularly. There are two ways: manual refresh, where you have manually every time you have to refresh all the data set whenever your topic is being created for a specific data set. Then there is scheduled data set, which can be used for, let's say, if you are using direct query as a method for your data source, you can set up refresh schedule for those data sets. So whenever there is a background uh, changes happening, or the refresh schedule, the refresh at that particular time will take place. And whenever you try to ask a question in the queue, the data, let's say today till 12 p.m. was there, and anything related to the 12 p.m. query will come as a visual or whatever the query you're trying to ask in your queue. And AWS highly recommend refreshing those queue topics time either manually, and most of it would be scheduled. If you do it once, then you do not have to do it at a regular time. Now, when we talk about creating data sets, we also need to understand how it is connecting to data hosted in AWS VPCs. Now you connect your QuickSight with the data which is inside a VPC. It could be inside the AWS ecosystem, and also it could be inside the out of AWS ecosystem. Now, how this works is by creating a VPC connection in QuickSight, you're adding this elastic network interface and all of that in a VPC. What network interface helps you is it connects the QuickSight to exchange any kind of network traffic between, it could be your on-prem or it could be your uh, any data source within the VPC, and with making sure you have all the security standard being followed for that traffic to be flowed. In your VPC, you have all the route tables or the network access, ACLs updated or subnets, etc., which is required for these services to be connected to, and it could be done easily. Now, this is all with the help of, as if you are a QuickSight user, you might be aware how VPC connection is making sure it connect between your AWS resources or your on-prem resources with QuickSight. Only difference you would see that when you're using AWS resources, you're establishing a connection and also providing granular access through IAM. You're establishing through VPC endpoint, whereas with your on-prem, you are doing either direct connect or you're doing a site-to-site VPN and so on and so forth. Lastly, I wanted to also touch base on what Amazon Q and QuickSight best practices are. Now, when you're creating a topic in QuickSight, you have to make sure that you are configuring that metadata. You have to have the topics must-haves, such as you're excluding all the fields which are not being used to carry the data at any time. You're also making sure you're using synonyms or calculated fields, which might be simplifying your data modeling. Also, in let's say if you're trying to ask a vocabulary different the fields, you can add those as well, which is easier for you or your team or the organization how the kind of vocab is being used to fetch that information, and also named entity for your fields would further help too.
What your overall usage is historically. You can see last 90 days uh, worth of usage, how it is happening, and if there are any unanswerable data which is being used. So sometimes when you're trying to ask a question, it does not provide you the exact answer because you might not have the same semantics or the same word put to those fields which you are asking question for, so those go answered. Now how this works is when it goes unanswered, you try to provide a user feedback, and this helps the author to actually fix and correct. They can add those to the fine tuning on their side, add those semantics for the users to have easy access for the data they did not have before. uh, Again, the feedback is again really really important because it helps authors to go back, fine tune that metadata, add those nuances which we talked about last slide as well, which will next time whenever you try to ask these questions, let's say if you're trying organization, you can try company. So it adding that entity with synonym for organization as company as well. When you're trying using company next time, it doesn't go unanswered because the author has now taken care of that in the backend. There is another ways where you are understanding your users, uh, making sure that you are using synonyms. As I said, you are using default aggregations, making sure that you are not doing all the sum. You can choose different kind of granularity to do the meaning. If you're doing give me total count, you are looking for a sum, you are not looking for average. So making sure that you are going into queue and putting in the data set what your aggregation default should be, what your primary default for a data field should be, whether it is timestamp, whether it is date or something, right? Because you know your data better. And if you do these kind of operations on the queue side, it will further nurture or further help you provide this in a better way and a faster manner as compared to without having defining these. So some these are the best practices which is highly recommended when you are using queue. Now you have calculated field sets, as I said, adding also filters when you are trying to do, you're not really querying the whole data. you're also putting filters so that it goes to particular rows or columns and fetching that information instead of having to scan everything and going and getting all the 1 million rows kind of table visual in front of you. And make sure that you're starting small. You, instead of creating a big kind of data set, start with a single use case with minimum amount of fields, rather than going with 30 fields and getting a 70% success rate. I would definitely recommend going with 10 fields and getting a 100% success rate, and incrementally adding those fields and improving those best practices all around. And then you have lexical context as well. Every Q knows English really really well, so it understands the variety of phrases we use in a day-to-day language, or as a company, as a part of organization as well. So what it is unique to your business, you know it better, so you can teach Q in some ways, or in some of these key ways, providing those synonyms, semantic types, primary data, those filters, etc. With that being said, since we talked about it, let's go on to some of the demos, and I would hand over to Kalyan to cover a few of the things that we discussed today.
With the interest of time, let me quickly jump into QuickSight demo. So I've already logged into QuickSight, and let me first, as already Gopal mentioned, right, like we'll have to create a data set and a queue topic. So first I'm gonna do that. Let me upload a file that is sales data, and yeah. Many of you might be aware that this is the playground area for the data set. Like you can choose filter, create parameters, and choose which mode you want to put it in, and sample data, and if you want to join, or all of those things. But I'm not going to change anything over here. I'm just going to use a single data set here, and I saved and published it, and the name is SaaS Sales, right? So I have the data set over here. I just uploaded it a few seconds ago, right? Now, to use the generative BI feature in QuickSight, that is Q, you'll have to create a topic as well, right? So that's the reason we're going to create a topic as well. So click on new topic, and let me name it SaaS Sales, and this is going to be used for asking questions on software sales, right? And let me continue, and it'll ask me to link to a data set. We just uploaded this, right? SaaS Sales. So I'm just gonna choose that and click on create. So as mentioned earlier by Gopal, so it's gonna index this behind the scenes. Basically, it's gonna understand the data, and see what are the dimensions, what are the fields, and what are the AI generated synonyms are there. It's going to understand all of that and create those links behind the scenes. And yeah, that's what is happening now. So it might take a couple more seconds and we should be good to go. In the meantime, yeah, are there any doubts or any questions that we can take, Gopal?
Not yet, and I would certainly request everyone, and I was typing it right now, that if you have any questions, let's make it more interactive and try to understand if you understand how the queue topic creation is, or how to do the ingestion, and making sure that the entirety of asking and getting the right answer from queue works. So feel free to drop those questions. We have 15 more minutes for this.
Yeah.
So since Kalyan is going along, we can definitely discuss those questions on the chat as well, and I'll be able to help you out.
Yeah, thanks for that, Gopal. I think the Q topic is ready. So as you see on the screen, this is a summary page. I just cleared this, the notes yet. As earlier mentioned, we can see up to 90 days worth of data, and you can see some changes over here, like when it was uploaded, what was scheduled and all. So over here, the data fields. So that's what it was trying to do earlier. So it is trying to understand the data. It included some of the fields. Some of the fields can be excluded, like however you wish to do it. So in this scenario, you see city is, if you call it as in the questions, it and will point to this way. Let's say if I want location also to be pointed, then I can add this location to those, and wherever you type location, it will still be pointed out to city. So the synonyms are going to be of great help in that situation. And you can see whether it is a dimension or a measure, and you can choose the aggregation type. So you can control all this. And you see, even the semantic type it understood to be a location. So let's say if we go for a country again, I think it's going to go for location. Yeah. And let's say if it's customer, or let's say you can choose it to be a person, right? You can identify, you can choose all of those things. You can even preview, you can choose even aggregations and the format. So the formatting will be useful for like quantity. Let's say see this field. So if you see this, yeah, this makes more sense, right? Like how we want it to be represented. And you can also choose, yeah, you see currency, or like if it's sales data, that's currency, right? So that's how it is. You can make changes to your data underneath. And here is the data set which we just linked. And you can also see the refresh schedule and all of that, which earlier mentioned by Gopal, right? There's a name intervals. I'm not gonna talk much about those. Yeah. And here, if you see, I have not asked any questions so far. Nothing is answered. So all of the feedback is can be viewed from here itself. Let's say, let me ask one question. Just go and just put it over here. Um, Show me maybe sales by segment. Just okay. I'm just gonna ask one question, and it's gonna interpret that. It's gonna see the data and just gonna give me the output. Yeah. So what I'm doing, trying to do is I'm just gonna leverage the topic and I'm just asking questions. I've not done any analysis or anything else so far. So you see, it's giving me by segment, what are the total sales, unique segments, and per day basis, and all of the details, right? It even gives you a summary of what it understood from all of those visuals as well, and how it interpreted that question as well, right? So see, it interpreted sum of sales and by segment. So that's what we asked, and it gave me this way. So yeah, and you see the stats changed. One question has been given and one question has been answered, and there was no feedback given. There was no comments or anything. So this is with respect to the Q topic. Let's jump into the interesting parts now. The analysis. Let's create a new analysis from the sales data. Use an analysis, and yeah, click on create. Right now you see, there's an empty one. Let me delete this as well. Okay. I'm a noob user. I'm a newbie, and I don't know how to build anything in here. So what I'm just gonna do is click on build visual and ask questions, like whatever I wanted to build. So let me first actually plot some sales data. So what I'm doing is plot sales over time at monthly grain as a line chart. Okay. So I gave this to the queue, and yeah, align chart with monthly sales is given. Maybe I want to prettify it, and maybe I want to segment it as well. So I'll add just an additional prompt over here, color by segment. And you see, yeah, it's gonna update the visual with different segments. I like this visual, so let me add it to the analysis. Okay. Done. And you will see what it understood behind the scenes, and it is showing over here, right? Let me do that similar thing for three other visuals, which is going to be in similar format. So here in this question, what I'm trying to ask is plot sales by product and segment, and plot this in a vertical stacked bar color segment. So it's a vertically stacked visual, and by segment, it's categorizing this. So it understood what I exactly told, and it gave me the right output, like what I'm expecting. So I'm good on this front. So you see, without me doing anything, I was able to build this board. So let me maybe rename this into a different analysis. Yeah, I want it to be GenBI, Generative BI analysis. Good. Let me do another visual as well. So yeah, let me just add that. Here, what I'm trying to do is I just want to show the raw data, show the total sales, quantity, function by segment, product, and all of that as just a table. Okay. I just want to have this raw data visual. And not only this, as an author, like as a builder for the visual, what you can do is you can also create a calculated fields as well. Let's say in this fields, I don't have what I'm looking for in the raw data. So if you want to build something, you can just go and click on calculated field and let me name it as average unit sales price. I don't have average unit sales price. So I just name that and I can give the prompt to actually build it as well. I don't have to write the formula for it. I'm just going to put that same thing over here and say build. And you see, it's going to interpret that question and says sum of sales by sum of quantity is what the average is. So it gave me this formula. This looks right to me. I'm just going to insert that and just save it. And you see, it shows up over here. Calculated field is always shown by equal to sign, right? Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask my visual to leverage that as well. Again, click on build visual again and just put the question and see plot average unit sales price by year as a vertical bar chart. So just I'm trying to give this field name over here and make it understand that I want to leverage this. So this is what I was looking for, the data, and just let me add that. Okay. With that said, not only this, like let's say you might be wondering, hey, this is like very good, but let's say I want to make some modifications. How do I do that? So what you can do is like, let's say in this visual, I don't want those grid lines to be present. Okay. Okay. You have here Q, just click on it and just given the prompt. Turn off the titles and the grid lines. So that's what I'm going to do. And you see, it removed the title and it removed the grid lines. So you can just type it out in plain English and this looks good. It did a good job. So I'm just going to give thumbs up and say good job or something. Like whatever is meaningful. This is what I was expecting or something like that. Right? Maybe I can duplicate this visual and yeah, over here if I go, maybe I want to change this. What I'm going to do is instead of coloring by segment, I'm going to do color by product. So whatever products are there, I'm just gonna put those as a colors field. And you see, it's giving me my detailed information regarding the each product. Maybe, yeah, this looks good to me. Let me just put it here. And then maybe I'm gonna change even this table. Like this table has a lot of information, but I just want to visually understand very quickly like what is happening. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just going to put mark the rows which greater than 5 to be in orange and greater than 10 to be in green. The number which I'm trying to refer is the quantity over here. Okay, so just let me put it over here. Apply. Okay, in a couple of seconds, but yeah, you see, it has made those changes, and wherever the quantity is under 5 to 10 in the range of 5 to 10, it's orange labeled, and wherever it is greater than 10, it's around in the green bar. So it's visually easy for me to understand this. So far, whatever we have done basically just using the data set. We've actually not linked the Q topic anywhere. If you see, just a second, let me tell you. Like, let's say I'm going to ask a question like this. So, build monthly sales by contact matcher. So, contact matcher is a product, and it didn't understand the question properly. If you see here, interpret as total sales by month and contact name. So I didn't say contact name, I said just contact matcher. It's actually a product inside the data, right? So this is not what I was expecting because I didn't link the Q topic. It's actually telling it this way. But actually when you link the topic over here, you can choose that and choose say sal and apply changes. Now the topic is linked, right? Now what we can do is again ask the same exact question and let's see what it says. Blur monthly sales by contact match. If you see, yeah, now it interpreted the question differently. Total sales by month per product contact matcher. As contact matcher as one of the fields, as one of the rows inside the column product, it understood that because it was able to do that indexing behind the scenes. So that's how Q works with a topic, right? So this is what I just wanted to show to maybe not add it to the visual. Let's close this. So this is on the authoring side. Let me just go ahead and publish a dashboard and actually show some of the interesting features which I find very interesting. So I'm going to publish it as Generative BI dashboard. And these are the three features which actually were spoken by Gopal earlier. The data stories, the executive summary, and able to Q&A the dashboards for the end users, right? So let me publish this dashboard. And you see, now it has become the read-only copy of it. Now I don't have this additional fields which I can go ahead and change this, right? So this is the one which will be shared to the end users, right? So I'm aware of the data, what is there in this. But let's say a new user comes, he or she will not understand what exactly is present on this, right? It shows a lot of data like sales, what does the sales constitute to, and they have to understand all of this. So here is a feature, just click on executive summary. And what it does is, whatever visuals are present, it's gonna interpret those and come up with a summary for each or most of them. Like, give it maybe a couple more seconds and it'll pop up and it'll tell you what it interpreted based on the visuals. Yeah, if you see here, the sheet provides a comprehensive analysis of total sales, quantity, unit price, and all the trend lines. So this particular summary is picked up from this particular visual. It shows 292 unique customers. It shows the trend growth over the last 3 months, what it understood, and top three products from this. Like if you see Contact Matcher, Finance Hub, Site Analytics, these are the three. In December 2024, what exactly happened, the top three movers in average. So from each visual, it basically summarized and gave you an output. So for someone who's coming for the first time and trying to understand this is going to be a quick start to them. So that's how this feature can be useful. And let's say the end user wants something more that is not present on those visuals. Let's say that. So they can just quickly ask questions. So maybe I'll ask the same question which I asked earlier in the Q topic. So maybe by contact matcher, I didn't add that earlier, right? So I'm just gonna ask the same question and it's going to give me the output. So someone who is interested not only in what is being shown by the author, something more, then they can go ahead and ask these questions. So that's how useful um, the Q&A section on the dashboard looks like. Okay, and as we spoken earlier, this is a summary version of what it understood. Let's say what it gives is the right information or what you're expecting. Then you can just click on mark as verified. That way the author knows, hey, my audience is satisfied with the question, the output which was given by Q. They don't need to do anything extra. Let's say if you don't like it or something, you can just leave the feedback and say, I'm expecting more or something like that. I'm expecting more such visuals in dashboard. So yeah, maybe the author will look into it, and if he finds useful, like more and more members submit the same feedback, then they might include that. And let's say for now they have not included, then you can just say add to pinboard. And let's say I like this also, let me add to pinboard. Later, whenever you access this dashboard, you can go to directly pinboard and whatever you asked the earlier questions, you've already linked them over here. So this is available to you as a pinboard, right? So you don't have to worry about again asking same question again and again to the queue. So that's how Q&A functionality works. And yeah, with that said, the final feature which I'm gonna talk about is the data story. Click on data story and yeah, so you want to build a narrative. So just first me, let me put a prompt in and then explain the feature. So what I'm going to do is the dashboard is looking good, but let's say my upper management asks me like, hey, give me how do I improve our sales in coming years based on products or industries. So that's what I'm going to put over here. And for it to understand, I'm just going to link the visuals, which will be more helpful for Q. So I'm just linking all of the visuals, okay, and asking it to build. So what it does is it gives you a baseline structure for your data story, like what it understood from the data, and it gives you suggestions as to how to improve or what you can concentrate on based on like the dimensions you have provided, like the products or industries. So you see here, so it gave it a title, Unlocking Sales Growth, a Data-Driven Roadmap, and you can write your name, and it even gives you a structure like introduction, total sales growth segment, and all of that. So you can change this Like maybe I just want it to look a little bit modern or maybe something different, and maybe I want to edit it out. Like I could, let's say I am the author of this, so I'm just going to put my name over here. And see, it gave an introduction. It shows month-end segment. Maybe I want to highlight this. Okay. According to this, in December 24, whatever happened, I just want to highlight this. So I just put over here, and maybe you don't like the structure. You don't want everything to be on the left side, right? So you can just move it to the left or right, and maybe you want this on the top, and maybe you want the sales price by product to be upper, more priority. You can move this block up directly like that. Or maybe if you see, there's a lot of information which is given over here, right? So it might not be easy to understand. So what you can do is you can select whatever you want and just make it longer, shorter, or change to bullets. Maybe bullet points will help me in this situation. So I'm just going to choose bullets. So it's going to understand that, again, categorize that, and give me a different narrative. Right? I like this, let me keep it. So that's how you can do it. Or maybe you don't like something, you want to change it, or in a different manner, you can do those as well. Like you can ask the question, you can change those however you like. And you see, the recommendations are also given by QuickSight Q over here. So what it can do, like concentrate on what top of end products and segments and all of that. And if you like this, then what you can do is like just preview it and see how it looks for the end user. So this is how it will look for the end user, right? It makes sense to you. Then what you can do is click on share, and maybe I want to share it to Gopal. So I'm just going to type his name and just publish and share. With this, what you get is that you don't have to worry about whom this gets shared to. Like, let's say previously what happens is that you put this in an email or take a screenshots or however you like and just put it over there and send it to someone like Gopal. And you don't know that who Gopal can send it to, right? So you have complete control, like who can see this in that situation. The governance is also controlled over here itself, and data is up to date behind the scenes with the refresh and all. You don't have to take new screenshots every time. So these visuals will get automatically updated, and this narrative will also get automatically updated whenever there is a change in that. So that's how simple it is behind the scenes, right? So with that said, I'm at the end of my demo.